Welcome back to the Bejeweled podcast, the podcast that ain't just a Game Boy screen, but it's just as awesome. I'm Joel, I'm the Evan121, and let's just say, I guess we're finally done with the Friday the 13th.
And I'm Jiozak, and pay no attention to the fact that I'm in a completely different room.
Oh my goodness, he's in a different room. Welcome to podcast number 39. Oh man, 39 of these editions, of course excluding the lights. It's been a while, right?
Yeah, I mean, in a sense, it almost kind of feels like we just did a podcast, but that's just what happens when you start doing them on like a more regular basis, so...
That's very true. We've been pumping out these out a lot this year, and I think for me, this is the 6th podcast we have done this year, and we're not even done with March.
Right.
So that just goes to show how much we're pumping and grinding for this year. Anyways, discussions today. The big one is literally a big one, as we discuss on the potential for this decade or even this generation to see a brand new game franchise become big in the era of Mario, Sonic, Pokemon, and many more. We also, on the sidelines, going to be discussing a big YouTuber's, well, revival, quote unquote. If you guys are hyped for more visual podcasts here on the channel, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe for content if you're new, follow Jiozak on these handles, and of course, ring that bell to find anytime I upload. Last podcast on the card up here, and if you wanted to see me almost fall asleep while talking about Pokemon packs, also check out this podcast. Yes, that was a thing that happened, Jiozak.
Oh.
Welcome to me being very tired, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, shall we get... Oh, what did I say?
Yeah, so in order to kind of like prevent that from happening to me, ever since like we switched when like we do podcasts, I basically always have some kind of caffeinated soda pop like a couple hours before we do this, so then I have like enough energy for like the podcast, and then shortly after, I need to go to bed.
Well, that's good. I don't have that kind of strategy on my docket, so you're one up on me on that.
Yeah.
Or 7-Up, I don't know.
Quite.
Anyways.
I was about to say not quite 7-Up, because that doesn't have caffeine.
We both... same brain cell.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we?
Yeah. Yeah, let's go.
Alright, so, I mean, I think for this time, we're going to go straight into our first topic, and that is big game franchise. Now, we are talking about in a general consensus, so to those of the Western side, we apologize for what we're going to discuss for today, because I know there's so many other games out there, game franchises out there, that can be considered big, but I wanted to go on a general consensus to the worldwide audience, which includes both children and adults. You think of the era we're in, Jiozak. You think of Mario, Sonic, Zelda, Pokemon, Kirby, and potentially many more like Mega Man, Samus, Samus, True Metroid, and so on, that have kind of just encapsulated the games that we're playing today. Granted, not everyone probably is playing it. You still have other franchises out there that are rivaling them, like Resident Evil, Uncharted, Assassin's Creed, and so on. But to be honest, while I was just thinking about it, I was just like, man, Mario has gone through 40 years and has had so many games published. Sonic has had 35 years and has so many games published. Pokemon 30 years, and so on and so forth. Which kind of brings up the debate of whether we will ever see a game franchise be of that kind of magnitude in this current generation we're in.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so many factors, in my opinion, that kind of say no to that question. But I kind of also want to see your viewpoint on this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, when Joel was like, messaging with like kind of a list of like those big ones. One thing that kind of came to mind is, okay, you mentioned Kirby, which, yeah, has been like a long-running franchise, but I would almost argue that it's like specifically Kirby almost feels like more popular as a character, as a concept, than his games are. Because like the sales for Kirby games have always kind of like, they haven't been terrible, but it, compared to like a lot of the other first party Nintendo titles, it almost feels like lower than maybe it should be. And also there's one series that is roughly a decade old at this point that definitely has made a name for itself, to the point where when it released, it broke sales records in Japan for being the fastest selling like singular video game of all time. Splatoon.
That's true.
Yeah, it's I don't know, that was like just something that came to mind as like it feels like just in general, like outside of the Splatoon community, it feels like people don't really talk about Splatoon, even though like it definitely is a big, like, it sells, especially in Japan, and that's probably why it's not talked about as much, is because it is especially big in Japan, part of just like the general society at this point, but like everywhere else, like it's decently popular, but not to the same degree of like, yeah, other characters of, yeah, even Mario or Sonic or various Pokemon or like Link or Zelda. So,
You know, the funny thing is, you were talking about Splatoon. You know what's the other game franchise that came to my mind? Mother. Because here's the very scary parallels. They both came out. They both have 3 games in their franchise, 2 of which in each of those franchises were from the same console. Because you have Mother 1 and Mother 2, aka Earthbound, being on the SNES. And then you have Splatoon 2 and Splatoon 3 both being on the Switch 2, I think.
Wasn't the first Earthbound on NES?
Was it?
Keyboard fell asleep.
Oh wait, no, you're right. It is NES. Never mind. Wait, no, actually, that is correct. Then 3 games each, 3 different consoles. Because you have NES, SNES, and N64. While the other one was Wii U, Switch, and Switch 2, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's no exclusive Splatoon game on Switch 2 yet. It's just that Splatoon 2 and 3 were released on Switch, but are playable on Switch 2.
Oh yeah, that's true. I guess
it's okay.
I guess we could still count that as 3. I don't know. Grasping at straws right now, honestly, with this. But yeah,
okay.
It's funny that those 2 franchises kind of have a parallel to an extent, because they're both very popular in Japan. We know that too well.
Yeah, at least we got the 3rd game.
Finally.
Yeah.
Anyways, continue on this Splatoon.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I've been like thinking about Splatoon a decent bit in general lately, because this year we're supposed to be getting Splatoon Raiders, like the very first spin-off game in the Splatoon series. So it's gotten to the point where now it's getting spin-offs. Yeah, I know. It just feels like a series that has sold, but outside of Japan doesn't really get talked about too much in like the general, I guess, gaming zeitgeist.
The
But then you look at like the Japanese market and it's like, oh, it's massive, like even just in general society.
See, my counter argument to that, to an extent, is actually the first point that we're gonna like discuss here regarding this topic, and that is, does a game franchise need so many games in order to become big? And I think with your Splatoon discussion, I think the answer probably can be no.
Yeah, considering that like so far it's only had 3 entries within roughly, well, not even roughly, within a decade, because Splatoon 3 released late 2022. So,
Yeah.
and it's like just now getting its first spin-off.
That's very true. It's like as though that Splatoon is actually taking the time and a lot of care to be able to become big, rather than as we've seen in the 1980s, 1990s, where game franchise had to like put out as many games as possible to become big.
Right. To a degree, that's probably in part because like modern development cycles are just that much more intensive than they were back in like the era of like NES, SNES, even or well, those specifically.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, to add to that, I'm actually gonna relate something I've heard from Tyler Toney from Dude Perfect when he talked during the world's highest basketball shot video, where he talked about the fact that in this current like generation of YouTube, it's like he said it himself perfectly. When we make a video, it's no longer like just grab a camera and then just going to film stuff. Now it's really a lot of thought process going to it. So just as how we see the ever-present change in the development of a video when it comes to YouTube and a lot of thoughts come in, I think gaming is just like this. It's just the same. There's a lot of thought, more thought than ever, just to ensure that the game really works well and runs well and like performs well.
Yeah, and I guess with Splatoon specifically, that is definitely more involved because, yeah, sure, there's single-player elements to it, but at its core, it's a multiplayer game, so they have to make sure that weapons and stages and, like, clothing, your, gear is all balanced, and also just, stuff relating to online multiplayer that, like, games back then didn't have to worry about whatsoever. So...
No, not at all. Not at all. There's like, as I said, so much more thought nowadays compared to the yester eras when it comes to making games.
Right. Back then, like, at most, you're really only worrying about split screen multiplayer, but not every game had that. I know, like, some Sonic games definitely did have split screen multiplayer. Mario games not so much. It was just like taking turns with only like occasional stuff in like Mario 3 if you chose to like initiate a versus battle.
That's very true. We're definitely seeing like a very big shift when it comes to like considering what game franchises can be big. Second thing I want to discuss is actually really related to the whole internet topic that we have seen being prevalent throughout many of our podcasts so far recently. Do you think the current internet, social media scene is also influencing how games are being created and how often games are being created?
It's definitely a factor in how games are being developed. I say that, but I don't have any specific examples to go to, but
Well, you don't really need to go far, in my opinion. When I think about the fact that back then, when we didn't really have social media, Mario could just pull out a board game as and no one was complaining. Well, I mean, granted, it became very popular a bit later on, but still. Actually, no. There we go. Mario can release educational games and no one will complain.
yeah,
Or even
Yeah,
"Where's Mario" kind of thing, if you think about it.
yeah. I mean, it's not it's not like reviews or anything didn't exist back then. They definitely did. It's just they weren't as easily accessible and and everything that modern social media is on the smartphone.
Let alone not created by let alone not potentially created by game critics who don't even know how to play Cuphead.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know which video I'm talking about there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Rest in peace to that game critic.
yeah. I don't know. I'm somewhat kind of related. When I was thinking about how game criticism, game critique definitely existed back then. I think this is on some public access channel. Shoot, I forget the name of the show, but it was originally a review show of this guy reviewing or critiquing, talking about I think comic books.
Oh.
But he shifted to talking about video games because they were getting so much more popular during the SNES and N64 that he pivoted to talking about that, even though he was not really skilled in video games. I forget the name of the show back then. I just remember the show, or the name that it was kind of given later on when clips of that show were uploaded to YouTube. Gaming in the Clinton years?
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I know it had a different name back when it actually aired on TV, but yeah, yeah, people talking about games where the person talking about the games may not be exactly the most skilled or knowledgeable. That's definitely always existed. I don't know what point I was trying to get at with that, but it's given how many people online will just talk and critique about anything in a game, even if they don't have the best knowledge or skill with it. Again, I don't know what point I was trying to get at with that. It was just a thought that I had.
No, I mean, Eminem in Renaissance put it perfectly. Pick a Picasso and give excuses to hate. Pick a part of Picasso, sorry. Pick a part of Picasso and give excuses to hate.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the best way that we could probably describe the internet as nowadays, honestly. And that's kind of sad to say.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to find what the
Flights of
name...
Fantasy.
Yes, okay. Yep.
Yeah, no, I was one step ahead of you. While you were talking about it, I was researching. I was like, oh, Flights of Fantasy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, I know it has the word fantasy in it, but I just couldn't quite remember.
I guess you weren't final on that fantasy answer.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So... But yeah, sorry, like, getting back to Flights of Fantasy, the amount of times, like, if you actually go through and watch a bunch of the clips of reviews that he did of games, the amount of times where he had to, or that he admitted to using some kind of cheat code to get to the end of the game, it's just like, buddy, you're not even playing the game at that point. Yeah, and
I feel like the problem with that also becomes the fact that it takes a lot of hours for a blind playthrough to occur sometimes. And I think with Final Fantasy, it gets worse when you think about the fact that a blind playthrough of Final Fantasy can range from something very short if the person's lucky to very long if the person is unlucky.
right, and I think one of the games on here, I'm pretty sure was, Final Fantasy, 8? Is that?
Oh no!
I'm pretty sure he also reviewed 7.
That's bad.
VII. Yep, he definitely reviewed 7.
Yeah, when you have games such as big as that, and where the game is quite open, yeah, that will happen.
Yeah, I think it's also kind of like a testament to a degree of, like, back then games were still like this, like, very much so this, like, new media or medium that no one really knew how to, like, properly handle it in terms of, like, discussion and whatnot. So it was just kind of like a Wild West, I feel, until, like, the 2000s, where people were like, okay, this is kind of established enough, we've kind of figured out how to actually approach engaging with this new medium, because for sure, like, movie critics existed, or movie critiques, and, like, movies, books, and music existed for much longer before that. So
I like that term, by the way. It was like a Wild West during the 2000s. That's a very good analogy for how it was back then.
I funnily enough, I think it was like the 2000s where the internet became more of like a thing in more people's like within just the general population, and people within that general population started to talk about games, even if it was mostly just within like written formats like blogs or forum posts. I think that made that, and like even talking about all that other, or all those other mediums that I mentioned, it became more of like an equalizer of like, okay, we have, now that more people can discuss this, we can like, it felt like, it became more of like a, even playing field. That doesn't feel like maybe the best term to use, but just when more people were able to like talk about stuff, then it was able to like bring more like topics related to gaming like to light. With the current day landscape of social media, I think not every take out there is like the best, or like is necessarily like should be actually taken seriously, because anyone can just like make an account and throw out whatever. I feel like stuff like forums especially gave a better format to have an actual discussion over written word,
Yeah.
as opposed to like a tweet that can just be like farted out within 10 seconds.
It really is sad knowing that we went from like not enough to discuss about to actually a decent amount of information. So then to the point where there's too much information to discuss about, and then this year we had to come up with the word rage bait.
Yeah,
and that has already and that in itself is a perfect description of how much game reviews have been ruined on social media.
Yeah, people know that if they make posts that are insidious and like divisive enough that it drives the engagement, and
they just want to be popular apparently.
Yeah, well, I mean, specifically in the case of Twitter, now there's actual financial incentive to do that.
What?
Yeah, like people have been able to earn money based off of engagement that they get from tweets for like years now. It was a thing that Elon implemented.
Preposterous.
Yeah. So now, like, it could legitimately be someone's career to just rage bait on Twitter.
Oh my goodness. That is quite crazy to think about.
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of one of the reasons why I don't take any discussion that happens on that platform seriously anymore, because there is a good chance that the person that you're seeing on there is just doing it for
the views.
Basically, yeah.
Oh, that is so disgusting though to think about.
Yeah, that's why I really do value what someone has to say if, like, specifically if they make, like, a video or a podcast or anything like that to, like, put...
Ta-da!
Yeah, kind of like this.
Why do you think I wanted to make this 6 years ago? I had so much on my brain that time.
Right, yeah. I feel like someone that is willing to even get behind a microphone, not necessarily also get in front of a camera, that's fine too.
Yeah.
But to put their thoughts out within that format, I feel like I take what they say like noticeably more seriously because they are willing to put more of themselves out there instead of just writing like a half-baked take on Twitter that who knows, maybe it was generated by AI.
Oh, jeez. It also helps that in such a space like this, it's actually more comfortable to feel vulnerable, where in a sense that we are right to say out what we are really thinking, even if it's maybe substantially sensitive. But we're able to do that in such a format because we enjoy doing it. We have loved talking about gaming for all of our lives, but even with some topics that may sound taboo or may sound very out there, like I feel like sometimes when I put out the topics to Giles, like I'm like, will he think this is weird? But all the more, we have really enjoyed our discussions over the years, and that was why we have kept this on for 6 years now.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like this this is one of those cases that it's like completely like diverted from the initial topic of like big game franchises, but like games and the internet, I feel like have like both kind of came onto the scene around the same time. They both like matured around the same time periods.
Dare I say the marriage is also very complicated between those two.
Right. Yeah.
Literally, it's a case of the social media saying, I want this in this game, and the game creates, oh, here you go, and then the social media goes, no, I want that. It's like, what do you want? Quite literally. It's the perfect personification of that kind of talk. between a wife and a husband.
You know what that reminds me of is recently with Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green being released on Switch, not on Switch Online, but as standalone releases. And I've seen a number, like over the years, I've seen a number of people online say like, oh, we should be able to buy these retro games individually, like piecemeal, so then it's not tied to a subscription service. But then retro games, like beloved retro games, are being offered as standalone purchases that are not tied to a subscription, and then people lose their minds. Granted, that could be a case of what I've now, like, I looked into this, and some takes or some situations like this could be attributed to being this is stupid, the Goomba fallacy.
What?
Yeah, basically
I know Dream, who we're going to talk about in a moment, talked about the totem paradox, but what?
Yeah, let's see. A logical fallacy that occurs when someone sees contradictory opinions expressed by members of a group and mistakenly believes that those people are being hypocritical, when in reality those contradictory opinions were expressed by separate individuals. If that makes sense.
I'll confess, it's a bit tricky for me to understand.
Yeah, this is from Wiktionary, the free dictionary, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
I think you are.
Basically, it could, like, situations like that could also be a case of interpreting these two different takes that are contradictions as being from the same people, almost like treating this group of people as like a monolith, when it's like, no, these are different people expressing different opinions.
So what? Oh, so basically they see a forum as a cult.
Yeah, or like a hive mind.
Oh, okay.
And like, and I feel like over the years I may have accidentally like believed stuff that would have been considered part of like being a Goomba fallacy.
Pardon me for asking this. Is it called a Goomba fallacy because of the fact there are several different types of Goombas that represent different types of opinions for the same thing?
Kind of.
And then the fallacy is the fact that a person thinks like, oh, every Goomba's the same.
Kind of. So it specifically has to do with the fact that someone edited a picture or diagram that someone made with Wojak characters to, instead of the Wojaks being Goombas for some reason, but that caught on more than the original image with the Wojak characters.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so now it's just considered the Goomba fallacy.
Unbelievable. That is actually golden. That's a thing now.
I saw the image of the Goomba fallacy like forever ago, or what feels like forever ago, but I never understood what it was talking about until I looked into it more, and it's like, oh, it's just treating like the falsehood of like treating different people with different opinions as being like the same person or same yeah.
Yeah. That is so crazy.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think, well, I mean, coming back to the point actually, but I believe there was a good conversation about it. Yeah, no, I think all of this though really it does define well they explain well why I feel like at this point in time, creating all the games is not really the way to go for franchises to become big.
Yeah.
Because you know the internet, it's gonna complain about every single thing. Why is Splatoon in a board game? Why is Animal Crossing in a fighting game all of a sudden? Well, actually, that's already been a thing. Never mind.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's like I'm trying to tie this back into the main topic without just it being weird or like awkward, but yeah. You know, it's interesting that like it feels like Nintendo has been trying to have like another like big new franchise similar to Splatoon, but hasn't quite been successful with it. Specifically in the case of ARMS, it really felt like they wanted that to be like a big new, almost like esports type game, similar to how people have like adopted Splatoon as a competitive sport almost, in at least in Japan. But I almost feel like ARMS would have done better if it didn't release within the first couple months of the Switch. Because I feel like... Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Just because, like, I think a lot of people attributed it to just being a weird borderline tech demo launch game that, when more and more people got systems, no one really cared anymore. There was plenty of other, like, recognizable stuff to play already.
You could say, therefore, that when they release the Switch 2, you know that game in which they allow you to, like, explore the Switch 2? That was their makeup for that.
How so?
The idea of a game that was mostly a system, like a tech kind of thing, rather than being a proper release, like ARMS was, that ARMS was trying to be.
Yeah, that they weren't trying to, like, push as, like, a big new IP.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
It almost feels it that way. Oh, yeah, continue.
Yeah, sorry. They have kind of tried to do that again with the Switch 2, specifically with Dragon Drive, but I think they almost purposely made it feel a little more generic because, for one, the control scheme is interesting. Like, yeah, ARMS control scheme was also interesting, but you can play that just with standard button and stick controls.
Yeah.
You don't need to use the Joy-Con. You can use just a standard controller.
You know, part of me when I think about it, when I think about the drag and drop system, right? I was like, how much you want to bet that IKEA was whole foaming in the mouth thinking, oh great, we're gonna get more scratch tables, more people are gonna buy our stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's why I don't know how much Nintendo talks about this in games like Dragon Drive, but you can use the Joy-Con mouse like just on your thighs. You don't need a table.
On your thighs? That's true.
Yeah, I have tried that a little bit. It does work, especially if you have your sensitivity, the sensitivity of the Joy-Con up higher.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So then you don't have to, like, move your arm around as much.
Yeah, that would work quite well, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
There is a versatility within that allows you to play on your knees.
Right.
I say that, and then, like... Sorry, I'm trying to be funny here, honestly, but then I can think of, like, those clothing stores, like, oh, great, more scratch pants.
Right. So,
Sorry,
I remember.
I don't know why I went there.
It's okay. I remember seeing during one of the like test periods for Dragon Drive where someone was playing with the Joy-Con 2 mouse like on their thighs, but they were doing that with a pair of new blue jeans that they had purchased and that they were wearing, and the blue had like rubbed itself off of the pants onto the Joy-Con. Yes. So both of their Joy-Con just had blue on them. Yeah.
Look, man, I was just not happy with my red Joy-Cons because I wanted the color blue, so I'm just gonna make them blue myself.
Right.
Anyways,
I almost want to see if I can find that image again.
Oh no, is there actually?
Yeah. Oh. Sorry, I think I found it.
Oh,
yep.
too. If you're gonna put it up on the podcast, like later in the edit, that'll be funny.
Yeah, I've just been messaging you these things.
Yeah, I'm about to see it. Oh dear.
Yep. Yeah, I guess it's not as bad, but still not great.
Here's the Goomba fallacy that he talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I scroll down, oh my goodness, that is crazy. Fair warning, if you use jeans when playing Dragon Drive, didn't expect the fabric on my jeans to rub off onto my Joy-Con. Thankfully, it cleans off easily. Okay, that's not too bad.
Yeah, still, like, not great, and also, that's one point to us that, don't like to wear jeans really at all. Is, like, outside of, things like work where I do wear jeans, like, I do not wear blue jeans.
I mean, to be fair, we can always be that Pokemon guy. I love wearing shorts. They're comfy and easy to wear.
Yeah.
I know. Hang on, I'm gonna just quote this out right now. Tarvel himself said that he needed a shorts editor, and he used the exact same person to promote it.
Nice.
Shout out to Tarvel.
Nice.
Like I love the Tarvel's test series that I've enjoyed. All the best for that second chance series, and hopefully things go well for that. Which, by the way, side tangent, how in the world is Survivor at 50 seasons now?
Good question.
Anyways, next question. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, yeah, like, I guess given just the fact that, like, gaming and the internet are so intertwined at this point, I think, it's gonna be tricky for there to be another, like, big major franchise to, like, the level of, like, what we've mentioned, like a Mario or a Sonic, or, yeah, even, like, a Final Fantasy, just with how everyone, everyone thinks that their opinion is important, even if they're just spouting off nonsense on Twitter. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, to some degree, it's gonna be tricky for any game to be successful and widely accepted that, like, those other franchises are, but at the same time, if a franchise really does prove itself, I feel like word will spread. I guess, like, that's kind of how Splatoon ended up, is, yeah, sure, it started out on a console that basically no one owned, but the people that did own the console and did play Splatoon, they really liked it and talked about it a lot, and so when the franchise got a sequel on a sequel console that ended up being infinitely more popular than the Wii U, like, word of mouth kind of spread at that point. Yeah, I don't know. I can see it like both ways, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'll admit though, the conversation kind of ties back to when we were discussing if there was ever such thing as the perfect game, I believe. Forgot which podcast that was, but I think I remember talking about the lines of like public opinion is gonna make sure that that will never happen. Sadly.
Yeah. Yeah. To a degree, also, because everyone, or so many people, expect perfection out of any single game, if a game has something that is even remotely not outstanding, then they're instantly just going to discredit that game. I feel like that's kind of a mindset that a lot of people have, is that if a game isn't absolutely perfect, like 10 out of 10, they just think, oh, the whole game is garbage. But it's like, no, I think it's just... That's one of the things that the internet has kind of died, or has killed, specifically, again, because of Twitter, and is a reason why I hate Twitter at this point, is that it kills nuance.
Kills nuance. I like that, actually.
Mm-hmm. Because it's like, you can still love a game, but still recognize that that game has quirks and faults and maybe bad parts of the design, but is still a game that, like, you love and more people should play because it brings so many, like, good things to the table, whatever those may be.
Very true. I agree with that, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I just want to correct myself. The podcast itself was talking about gaming originality and the perfect game opinion.
Okay.
So I was incorrect on my end, but nonetheless, I feel like that's true. Even with the perfect game, that they just will never exist because of social media. And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, whenever I use Twitter, it's often just to see very cute pictures.
Yeah, honestly, very good way to use
Twitter.
Twitter is just to, like, follow a bunch of artists and just see them, but a lot of them have migrated to, like, Blue Sky and Threads. Which...
So this is gonna be where it gets a bit touchy, Giles X. So buckle up. I can still say to this day that Twitter is still safer to use for pictures than Blue Sky.
I think you have mentioned that before.
That's the sad part, I feel like. Someone who has actually tried to dive into it, I'm just like, man, I don't like Twitter, but the fact that you still show me safe for work stuff more often is like, and Blue Sky still has not figured that out, is like,
Well, I think, whenever, like, someone posts an image onto Blue Sky, they can mark it as being, like, sensitive content or whatever, and you, like, in your settings, you can set it to where any content that has been marked with any of those labels will just be hidden by default, and you can hit, like, a button to unhide it.
yeah.
And so a lot of artists have used that functionality. Now that does mean that the person uploading the image has to put one of those labels on it, but from my experience, a lot of people are aware of those and use them. So it's not great that like that responsibility is more so like on the user, like on the followers to go into like their settings to change those, but it's at least an option.
Yeah, that's true. But ironic thing is that Blue Sky, right? That not as many people are aware of it, or maybe worse, people don't even use it properly, and it causes, unfortunately, some obscene images to pop up from searches when you don't even mean to.
Yeah. It's kind of why I just don't necessarily like checking social media in public to begin with.
That's very true.
Yeah, because not just like, yeah, there's also like not safe for work images that are, like related to things like gore or things like that, not just, like pictures of characters.
Just pictures. Just say pictures.
Other pictures.
Yeah, there we go.
I was like,
told you I would get comfortable.
What's kind of the most tasteful way that I can say this?
Just say other pictures. That's the best way.
Yeah. Because there's not safe for work images of like other things that are not the thing that you would think of when you hear the phrase not safe for work.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Because that's what that means. It's like NSFW isn't just what you think it is. It's like anything that would be obscene. So
derogative, not a definition.
Yeah. So that's why it's like, yeah, I guess just like browsing the internet in general out in public is something that I don't really.
Yeah, that's so true. Everything can be considered derogative, but not a definition. Something that someone says does not define exactly what he thinks that thing is.
Mm-hmm.
Explains why they always say take opinions with a grain of salt.
Yeah. To be honest, I heard those words and it's like, I recognize their words. It just didn't like I didn't fully absorb them.
Oh, sorry. I'm saying like, I feel like derogative but not definition could be applied a lot in terms of actually defining game opinions. Like, they are derogative, they can be derogative, but you can't say that it defines who the person is.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that lull would lead to a unfair opinion about that person in particular. Because let's think about this. You come to a person, they say that they don't like this game because of certain stuff. Is that defining him saying that he outright hates this game? Not necessarily.
Right.
But if you view it as an actual definition of what he thinks, then that's where I feel like the line has been crossed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I said even game opinions can be derogative, but not a defining part of a person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what I consider the problem when it comes to social media. I feel like, it's nothing like opinions are opinions. They're not like declarations or vows or anything like that. It's not meant to be taken seriously, as you mentioned.
Right. Yeah, it's...
And yet, welcome to the internet. Full stop.
Welcome to the internet. Have a look around.
It's awful.
Welcome to the internet. Have a look around. Anything your brain can think of can be found.
Oh,
we have mountains
Louise.
of content, some better, some worse. I was like, okay, I feel like I have to say a little bit more about, from this reference to maybe see if it rings a bell.
Well, it doesn't ring a bell to me, but it definitely rung some bells.
It's from a song from Bo Burnham's Inside called Welcome to the Internet,
Oh.
where it like describes how pretty much how the internet, at least like in part, the song is meant to like depict how the internet is made to be as for better or for worse, as engaging as possible for people, like as young as possible, so then they just get like addicted and attached to it. And that's, I mean, probably where maybe a non-zero amount of like bad or like not well informed takes on like games and just other stuff comes from. Is how many of these takes are you seeing are from people who can't vote yet?
Basically unpopular.
Yeah, or just from like much younger people.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said it. I believe now that there's no such thing as a bad or good opinion, rather just a popular and unpopular opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the best, like, most nutristic. Sorry, nutristic acid.
Yummy.
It's the most neutral statement I can say about opinions.
Mm-hmm.
Without like saying that someone is like negative in the negative realm, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that I had to come to that kind of end just to define a word that perfectly describes opinions, that's just going to show how the internet is like nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that song does also like touch on just the dichotomy of what you can find, and just the toxicity that you can encounter online. Not necessarily like in relation to opinions or discussion, but just in general of like, at one point it's like, what does he say specifically? It's gonna bother me if I don't know the,
I mean, I looked up the name of the Flights of Fantasy, so go ahead if you need to search up.
Welcome to the Internet lyrics. Here, let's... hold on. Yeah, okay. There's one point where he goes, see a man beheaded, get offended, see a shrink, show us pictures of your children, tell us everything you think, start a rumor, buy a broom, or send a death threat to a boomer, or...
What?
Yeah, and it goes on a little bit more, here's a healthy breakfast option, you should kill your mom, here's why women never love you, here's how you can build a bomb, which Power Ranger are you, take this quirky quiz. Yeah, it shows just like the dichotomy of like, the internet is like...
The sad thing is that, as much as I was like gagging over like what in the world are these lyrics, it's so true though.
Yup. Yeah, and I guess another example here is, welcome to the internet, put your cares aside, here's a tip for straining pasta, here's a 9-year-old who died. Yeah. It's... yeah. And a bunch of colored pencil drawings of all the different characters in Harry Potter doing things to each other, welcome to the internet. Except he uses more, direct language.
Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what Bo Burnham is. is just
You know,
it says it like it is.
as a bowling like fan for a bit, right? I thought you said Bo Burton, to be honest.
Oh no, Bo Burnham.
Burnham, okay.
Yeah, the internet is both a wonderful tool, but also can be incredibly destructive for even more reasons.
And unbeknownst to a lot of people, it has really changed the landscape of games nowadays.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I feel like once the first person like asked like, why is the games being like this or that? He's like, it's because of you.
Yeah.
I could probably just yell their faces at that because like it's so true. The internet has like kind of like absolutely transformed the way games are actually made nowadays. Now, granted, yes, technology will definitely play a big part of it, but the less like if you talk about like game scarcity, there you go.
Yeah, because it feels like so many people are just dissatisfied or like wanting to appear dissatisfied with so many things in like certain games. I don't know, it feels like it's gonna be hard for any like new upcoming like franchise that is up and coming to really like gain the same like traction and notoriety of like the big franchises that everyone already knows.
Exactly.
But at the same time, like we are in because like basically everyone is on the internet. It's easier than ever for people to learn about like new games, and so there's probably at some point going to be a franchise that does like, even if it doesn't get as like big as Mario or Pokemon specifically, like even to Kirby levels, I feel like is possible, but probably I don't think it's gonna happen within like the next decade, but I feel like it's gonna happen still within like our lifetimes. If that all makes sense.
No, I fully agree with what you're saying with this, and it's pretty much the best way to wrap up to summarize like the whole discussion of internet versus gaming being a problem when it comes to having a big game franchise. On overall, I mean, that's kind of where my bulk of the conversation was hoping to go to, and I'm very glad it did, because honestly, it's a shame. It really is in this current time that we're just seeing so many changes because of how, like, okay, we see that the internet can change for the better. Like, can change for the better. There we go. Especially when you see, like, I mean, the best case scenario was Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie. Where they managed to change the character design, and all of a sudden it becomes a absolute gold fest for Sega.
Yeah, everyone was just universally vocal about the original Sonic design not being great, and they really took that to heart and like made it more in line with how Sonic is like designed in the games. And that like initial whatever quote unquote controversy has kind of just like not been a thing in people's minds now that like a company did actually like take that criticism to heart, which yeah, I think that's like one definitely good example of people just not liking a thing at all, and a company like actually meaningfully like changing it.
Yeah, exactly. And I wish we would have a moment like that again in due time with gaming, because I yearn for the times where we are actually probably united for a positive thing rather than a negative thing.
Mm-hmm. It kind of felt like a similar thing was going to happen around the launch of the Switch 2, with so many people complaining about like the price tags of like especially the games, not so much the console, but like especially Mario Kart World. But like after it launched and it was like setting records, like none of that meant, like all of that initial noise kind of didn't mean anything. So, but that was also a case of the company in question doing nothing about the whatever online backlash, because even though there were people that were vocal about it, just as many people, if not more, bought it.
You know, as we close up this topic, there is one thing I want to bring up that was discussed about on the Formula One side. Yeah, I know, a bit of a tangent, but honestly, it's kind of relevant. You mentioned how Nintendo was saying that they did nothing with the backlash that happened. They kind of just left it alone and did their thing, and look at what happened. Formula One, as of recently, has been, well, called out, talked about. I think that's the best way to term it. Talked about how they are giving absolutely zero cares about the backlash, but instead not only are ignoring it, but deleting it. What I mean is, like, any kind of comment on YouTube, on X, on Instagram, on any kind of social platform, they've been somewhat sort of deleting comments about, like, the backlash of, like, to the new regulations, to like the new cars, etc., etc. Do you think that in this case it's a bad way of putting away backlash? And do you think they could have taken the Nintendo approach?
Yeah, like if a company or organization like that, I feel like in that case, specifically at least, it's, I don't know, it's not quite the Streisand effect, but it's kind of what is like coming to mind of trying to brush something under the rug, but it's almost becoming more loud because you're trying to ignore it instead of, or like actively trying to like silence people rather, instead of just ignoring it and not like doing some kind of action upon it, or
Yeah.
related to it, basically. I feel like, yeah, maybe with cases like that, yeah, maybe companies should actually follow Nintendo more, and that if it's something that isn't like actually big, major, serious, although I don't know what the new like regulations are.
You don't really need to know about like how much like the backlash there was. I mean, the thing is that the car is a lot different. A lot of things were removed. Like the car, like several things that people have known from Formula One for so long are finally removed now. Basically,
Okay.
I think that's the best way to describe like why the backlash was occurring.
Yeah, okay. I feel like in that case, they should like look at those criticisms, not interact with them at all. Just look at them to see, is there any like actual like nuggets of truth or wisdom.
Constructive feedback.
Yeah. Yeah, see if there's anything meaningful that they can glean from that, and try to meet people halfway, at least, with, like, future, regulations or, like, future, alterations or amendments or whatever to existing regulations.
Yeah.
Instead of, like, actively trying to deny the fact that people are upset.
Very
yeah.
true.
So.
Yeah. It's definitely. I mean, I wanted to bring it up because it was like talked about recently on the internet, and I remember seeing like how approach like this different stance of approach can really change the outcome. And I'm just hoping that whilst it is still occurring and there's not really much we can do about it, that they at least, you know, have some sort of wisdom to realize, okay, there's some truth, and then we need to at least act upon it somehow, some way. Like, I don't know how they're gonna do it, but they'll have to.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the best of a way I could describe the situation with that. But, I mean, as you mentioned just now, and to summarize that whole point, welcome to the internet.
Yep. Yep.
That's really, sadly, the best way to describe the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. So yeah, that's pretty much how we're just gonna get to this point. We kind of just put out everything we have done, talked about, and really, I mean, will we see one in due time? I guess due time will tell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I do have, like, kind of a... I don't know, maybe not quite full topic, but it kinda sorta ties into this idea. I don't know, just, like, of how, it feels like I've seen so many people on social media, lately, specifically buying a Switch 2 for Pokemon, Pokopia. And it's like, that's actually kind of, like, relates to what we were talking about, because how many of those people otherwise would have bought the game if they didn't see other people on social media playing and, like, talking about how much they enjoy the game? Yet would they have gone out to specifically buy a Switch 2 with Pokopia? It was to the point where, even though the physical version of the game is a game keycard, for a time they were like, they may even still be kind of hard to find physical here in the States.
I mean, now that I think about it further, could you say Pokopia is like very similar to like Animal Crossing to an extent?
It's more akin, to my knowledge, to Dragon Quest Builders.
Okay.
Which does take inspiration and, like, cues from... It feels more so like Minecraft. If anything, it feels like Animal Crossing took ideas from other games like Minecraft and Dragon Quest Builders and just kind of botched them to an extent. So
wait, Animal Crossing is Minecraft, Dragon Quest Builders, and what was the last name?
But kind of done badly.
Kind of done.
So that's why it's like whenever...
I wouldn't say badly considering how good the franchise has become, right?
Even though it sold a lot because of the pandemic...
Okay, yeah, true.
I feel like it is... This could be a whole other topic that I've still been kind of wrestling with, about, like, how I feel like I want to present this in a video. I feel like New Horizons has like the aesthetic of an Animal Crossing game, but really wants to be an aesthetic almost like Dollhouse Simulator, and it does both badly.
Well, you're gonna use this portion of the podcast in your video then. Hi, YouTube.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, whenever that video ends up being a thing, yeah, that's why whenever I hear someone describe, or whenever people have described Pokopia as, oh, it's like Animal Crossing, no, there's better games. Like, no. New Horizons is like three games masquerading as one and doing none of them good.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
That's an interesting statement. Not to say that it's incorrect, but that's...
Mm-hmm. It's a mix of mechanics from Minecraft and Dragon Quest Builders within the constraints of an Animal Crossing game, and the other Animal Crossing elements that are in there are not done well, and because the like certain constraints from it being an Animal Crossing game really hampers the things that it took from like Minecraft and Dragon Quest Builders. If that all makes sense.
No, I see. I definitely...
Yeah.
I feel like, okay, if there's one thing you gotta admit, having a Pokemon game where we finally felt as though we're living with Pokemon, I think that's probably the biggest reason that game has had that much of an appeal to it. Now, granted, like what you said earlier, for better or for worse reasons, that is a reason why I feel like Pokopia really gained a ton of traction. You have people playing in Let's Plays on YouTube. You have people showing some cute and some questionable pictures on Instagram, Blue Sky, X, etc. That are really just sing the praises of how much it feels like as though you really are in a free world when you play Pokopia. Yes, there's a story, but to an extent, if you're just enjoying like the idea of having a life with Pokemon, then there you go.
Right. And one thing that I've seen people talk about is that the writing of at least most of the Pokemon within Pokopia is like very good. Which that was like one of the key criticisms of New Horizons, is that just the writing of the villagers was just super, not even like the angle of, oh, they're super sanitized. They were just dull. 'Cause they don't have to be like deranged or like how they were in like GameCube and DS. It just felt like they were almost like like super positive in almost like a toxic way, or just that, like, I don't know, uninteresting. Whereas like a lot of the dialogue I've seen from Pokopia is like, that's actually very funny.
You know, considering the year it was in, it might as well be super sanitized.
Yeah, so maybe it was a good thing. Who knows? I kid you not.
Now welcome to welcome to a new definition of clean humor, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. I kid you not, I've seen so much praise for Pokopia that I've legitimately been considering picking it up.
If you're picking up, I'm picking up too. Just be honest.
Okay. I've been like slowly working my way through Plants vs. Zombies Replanted, because it was on sale
Is that
on
good?
the eShop.
That game?
Yeah. From what I've heard, like, most, if not all of the major issues that people complained about online have been fixed. There were some things that people complained about, like, a lot of the art assets are AI upscaled, or that they used AI generated images. None of that's in the final game. Plus, they didn't use any AI generated imagery. It was like, at all. It was specifically just placeholder stuff that they did AI upscaling for like certain like UI elements, just while stuff was actually being like redrawn. So yeah, I think really my only, like, I have two specific complaints. For one, the audio sometimes kind of like crackles a little bit, and I've used a number of different headphones. I know it's not the headphones that I'm using, it is specifically the game that is doing that. And also, on the Switch 2 at least, it is not a specific Nintendo Switch 2 edition, meaning if you buy it on Switch 2, you do not, like, it's not a game that is cross-compatible with Switch and Switch 2. So, it's not like there's any exclusive content to the Switch 2 version. It's, like, all the same. It's just the Switch 2 version has mouse controls, and you can play the multiplayer stuff via game share. That's basically it. And, like, it runs at, like, a higher resolution. So, like, they could have made it to where... this is, like, a little tricky to explain, but in the case of, like, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond Nintendo Switch 2 Edition, I have that as a physical game card, even though that is a Nintendo Switch 2 Edition that has enhancements when played on Switch 2. I can take that game, pop it into my Switch OLED, and play the game with the save data that I started on the Switch 2, but now on the OLED. That's what a Switch 2 edition entails, and there are some games, like Plants vs. Zombies, that really could have been an actual Nintendo Switch 2 edition that aren't. If that makes sense.
No, I see where you're coming from. It feels as though there was so much potential, and yet PopCap, for some reason, and EA decided not to do it.
Yeah, because there is a version of the game on Switch, but the version on Switch and the version on Switch 2 are basically treated as two completely separate games.
Weird.
Whereas something like Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, you could buy that just as the base Switch version if you don't have a Switch 2 yet, but then when you get a Switch 2, you can then upgrade it so then it has Switch 2 enhancements, but it's still using the same save data. And that same save data can sync between a Switch and a Switch 2. But that means that anyone that is still sticking with the original Switch, and they get games like Plants vs. Zombies Replanted, or I think Pac-Man World 2 Repack is the same thing, where it has a Switch version and a Switch 2 version. But there's no upgrade path. They're both treated as two separate games, basically. The same deal with Sonic X Shadow Generations. There's no upgrade path with that. So that's really my only complaint, or my biggest complaint with the game, and it has nothing to do with the actual game itself, really. It's more so just... yeah.
Hmm.
So
I understand.
getting back to the main point. I
Pokopia.
think, yeah, well, I think, I've gotten to the roof levels, and that's like the final world of the story mode.
Yep.
I'm gonna see how motivated or how interested I am in doing like the bonus content or just the extra content, but I may just save that for like another time. Really, I've just wanted to play through the base game at all, is that's something I've always wanted to do for years. But it's like I never really had a great time to do that, so that's why I figured I'll just get it on Switch too, because I know I'm actually going to finish the main story at least. After that, I might pick up Pokopia at the same time. The Switch 2 upgrade for Mario Wonder is coming out in like 2 weeks.
Wow.
So I might be playing that like next. Because I'm almost considering playing that game like with a completely fresh save file, not even using my 100% save file for it, because the game only lets you have one save file per user, which is dumb.
At the same time,
But-
you gotta admit, at least it's an easy game to finish.
Oh yeah, I mean, launch week, like I completed the game during its launch weekend. So
Oh, there you go, yeah.
yeah, even though it's longer than other modern 2D Mario games, but I've kind of wanted an excuse to replay through it anyways, so I might just do that. And I'm at this point on the fence about, am I actually going to enjoy Tomodachi Life, living the dream? Because like, just the thought of making all these different Miis, yeah, sure, there is like a questionnaire option to like generate a Mii, basically. That's kind of been like my biggest hang up just thinking about the game, is like, is that actually going to be enjoyable for me? And at least right now, that almost feels more like work than anything.
Yeah, I know that feel too well.
Yeah, so I'm almost, and like that's really my only hang up with the game. Otherwise, the rest of it looks fantastic, just from what we've seen so far. So I think when I'm done with replaying Mario Wonder with the Switch 2 upgrade, I think that is probably when I will pick up Pokopia. So
There you go.
and just in case if that's a game that I don't end up enjoying, I think I am gonna get it on a game key card. Just because then I would have the option of selling it to recoup the cost later, but it looks like a game that I would enjoy.
Could you send it to me, please? Kidding.
I mean, if we could arrange that if it gets to that point.
I mean,
but
Giles, I'm just saying, the day that you finally come to Singapore, I still have to owe you a lot for what you've done for me over the years.
yeah, I still I would still have to get a passport, which that is something I've been considering, like looking into this year, because at some point I do want to like do some kind of international traveling.
Please do. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'll admit
I
the
think-
idea of meeting you face to face finally is actually exciting to me.
Yeah, and we could, yeah, do like hang out in person, but then also maybe do some like content, like a podcast.
The beauty about it is the
together
fact
like
that
this.
finally having a standard mic like this actually can adapt to having two people right next to it.
Nice. I think, like, what I'm thinking of doing is getting the passport and then almost as like a trial run, traveling to a foreign country whose primary language is still English. I guess I don't know what the primary language of Singapore would be considered.
Don't worry, we speak a lot of English.
Okay. I mean, I kind of figured, but, yeah, I almost feel like I want to do just almost like a trial run of, like, going to maybe, like, the UK or whatever, and then, going from there, but I don't know, I'll get to that when I get to that. I just need to get a passport first.
Yeah, understandably.
Because that's a thing that, like, the average American really doesn't care about getting, is a passport, because the US is so big. You can travel all over the US all of your life, and you're still not going to see everything. But it's like, I would also like the option of seeing other countries. Because I think even if I don't do it sooner, it would be fun to at some point later down the road, like, visit Japan. I know that's something so many people say, but I would like to visit Japan at some point.
I mean, same here. That is on my bucket list this year.
Nice. I suppose for you it's easier because
Yeah.
you're, like, much closer.
I mean, I literally did flew to Japan before I went to America, so...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess, yeah, with something like, my thought with, like, traveling somewhere that primarily speaks English first is because I would have the experience of visiting a foreign country without also having the extra layer of, like, it being my first time, of also most people around me not speaking English, just to make things a little bit easier for, like, the first international travel. And then it's like, okay, once I am comfortable with everything else of, like, whatever, like, customs and like, converting my currency to, like, a different or converting converting to, like, their currency, and, like, all of those layers, and then also having to have, like, basic knowledge of some, like Japanese phrases as an example. It's like, I would like to have that not be a factor for my first time.
I mean, the good news about Singapore is that we have a common language. It's literally just la, lo, le.
Mm-hmm.
Walao! Sorry.
Yeah. So it's something that I want to do more, or at all, in the future here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Plans will be in hand, and hopefully this year we can make it happen.
Yeah, I guess I'm not exactly sure about this year, but definitely within the next couple years. Just have to see, like, how things, like, go.
Yep. Indeed.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
yeah. I felt like the Pokopia discussion definitely has no, that was good. I mean, hopefully we'll see even more, and you never know, like, really, and see how close it is to Dragon Quest builders and, like, developers about Pokemon as well. I think really we could see it being a bestseller this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, like, a system seller, definitely. So it's You know what? Have those numbers already been put or publicized? I would like to check this.
Yeah. By the way, there was one point in time that I did a squint and I realized to myself that, oh my goodness, and yet another reason why it's so hard to have a perfect game franchise at this point in time. The Goomba fallacy of AI, I'm gonna call it. Where people just assume that, like, some things are just AI set up when they're really not.
Yeah. Okay. Pokopia, think this was posted, yesterday. Okay. Pokopia is only a week old, and it's already one of the Switch 2's best-selling titles. Sold over 2.2 million copies in its first 4 days.
Wow.
With 1 million of those being in Japan alone.
500,000 average per day.
Yeah. It's like, I think over time it is going to be, it has, the likelihood of being, like, one of the best-selling games on the system. I mean, we'll have to see what other games end up coming to Switch 2.
But could we say early contender for being a nomination for Game of the Year this year?
Possibly.
Because honestly, we know that Winds and Waves Gen 10, which, by the way, I still have not seen the trailer, that will be released in 2027, so we know it's not going to be in contention for that. Maybe for hyped up game of the next year, probably. But in terms of Game of the Year, nope, not going to be there. Considering that fact, I can see Pokopia really being contender, considering how well it sells. And I mean, just as how we like to say, people have sold like music copies and become popular and become the best. Same thing with games. Sell many copies, become one of the best.
Right. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it does have legs of, if it, like, continues to sell, basically.
Correct.
So.
We'll see in due time. Alright. Now for the last important discussion, which I want to keep it somewhat brief because further thinking about it, I don't really need to say. I don't think we need to say too much. This week marked a momentous time in the Minecraft scene, as Dream himself has finally, after 4 years, released his first Minecraft Manhunt versus 6 hunters. And I feel like very similarly to how we talked about Mr. Beast hitting 100 million subscribers, I feel like this has to hit the spotlight itself because, oh boy, considering his life, I feel like it needs to be part of it. At least part of it needs to be discussed, considering how much of a life he has gone through over this decade alone.
Yeah, like how old is he?
How old is he?
Yeah,
I think he's like late 20s, if not early 30s.
Let's see, 26 years old, so he's actually 1 month older than me.
Wait, how is he 2 years younger than me? What? That really doesn't look that way, to be honest, sometimes. Wait, oh my goodness, so that means if he's 26 years here. Wow, so that means he was 19 years old when he first released Manhunts. That young.
Jeez.
Okay, you know what? That really further develops the discussion about, maturity-wise and how much he has grown. Because, oh boy, I mean, there's a lot to discuss, I'll be honest.
Yeah, granted, I don't really watch his stuff.
Understandably.
I don't really watch a whole lot of like Minecraft specific creators like to begin with.
Wait, what about me? Oh wait, I haven't released my videos yet.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It has been interesting, like, hearing about how, like, much like success he's had. Sorry, I got distracted with something. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. This is
Oh, all the more though, that makes you a perfect, like, neutral standpoint to what we're going to discuss today. So that's why I want to kind of bring it up. I mean, considering, such momentous time, I feel like must be discussed because you look back at his life. I mean, 19 years old, he was already posting manhunts, and he was playing out with his friends, like, trying out different mods, different things. And then he also is a Minecraft speedrunner himself. He knows how to play the game fast. And as we've seen from the Manhunt series, he definitely can do it, and with much success, to say the least. But what happened after 2022, his last Manhunt, really defines a lot of not only his character to grow, but considering that he was so young back then. But also, admittedly, part of it has to also it has to be discussed about how much the internet can be a big problem.
Yeah, so I was kind of looking into this a bit. Yeah, you'll kind of have to drive more of the discussion.
Yeah,
but,
fill all the blanks, don't worry. So, what have you looked up?
Yeah.
What do you know from face value?
So, I know that there were various serious accusations thrown against him, but they ultimately ended up not really being of any actual substance or merit. To be fair, I haven't looked super in depth. I've just saw what other people were saying and kind of condensed down versions.
Welcome to the internet, where pride causes people to want it to be little bigger ones just to look good.
Yeah,
that really is the only thing need to be said about such condemning comments that people have made. And the problem with SMPs in Minecraft is the fact that you have so many people supporting different people within the Minecraft realm, and unfortunately, it's when one person gets targeted, it prompts every supporter to be oh, I must support this person, and whoever they're fighting against will definitely be bad. For some, if not most, I feel that occurs without realizing they did not take with a pinch of salt what really happened and who really is at fault.
Okay.
So, I don't want to discuss about him versus Tommy in it, because honestly, that is a huge mess. The real two discussion points, firstly, was him accidentally faking his speedrun.
Yeah, so my understanding with that is that he has a mod that he used, at least for some of the Manhunt videos, that increased the drop rate of certain items, or appearance of certain items, that he accidentally left enabled when he was doing speedrun.
Correct. And he did not know it at the time, and I feel at the time that he admitted, he really did not realize he did it. And when you are 19, you gotta admit, when you're 19, you have this sort of mentality, oh, I'm correct. You gotta admit, in our teenage years, we felt that way one time or another. Whether we matured out of it or not is a different story, but we will confess, and I will admit to it, there have been times that we felt as though what we did was always correct.
Right, or you don't want to admit fault to something.
Exactly. And you
because
gotta now
of
know.
like
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
pride. Because of like pride or keeping up an image or whatever.
Exactly. And now that you mentioned that he's 26 this year, making him 19 when he did his speed runs. I feel like there is a sense of, okay, considering his lack of maturity, maybe there's a sense of pride that he was trying to, like, keep up. But now, as he got older, he realized, there's no point in keeping that pride.
Yeah, if anything, it's more it almost speaks to like someone's character if they are able to like admit that they like screwed up with something like that and like own up to it, then like I don't know if denying is the right word, but just like not owning up to it because you think that it's going to make your like
Reputation.
the image of like who you are like better. Like if anything, it's better to like own up to something like that and just be like, yep, this was a mistake.
Yeah, no, exactly. Now, whilst he has admitted to it, and he has admitted like wrong to it, has apologized, there's just one small problem. Welcome to the internet. You'll still have people out there saying like, "Oh, he's still bad. He like still clearly cheats." Brother, if you're not gonna change your own ways and not realize that other people are gonna change, what does that make you? An absolute hypocrite.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm very passionate with such stuff like this, especially as a teacher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like that's something I've seen online is like pretty much that when it comes to various drama, no matter like how serious or unserious it is.
It's just a shame, honestly, with the internet that we're living in, that such things have to be schooled, and yet people still refuse to change their ways like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a shame. But yeah, no, that pretty much sums up like his like speedrunner days. And yeah, nowadays he doesn't really speedrun anymore. He just like when he was practicing for Manhunt, he actually put up a list of saying, "Oh, hey, I changed this and that. Don't say this is a speedrun. I'm clearing right now. It's not a proper speedrun."
Mm-hmm.
And that's in terms of his live streams when he was actually practicing for Manhunt.
Okay.
I think the big thing to say is it is a live stream, so like he's not trying to hide anything by any means.
Mm-hmm.
Now the other thing is him versus Quackity, which he actually ended up dissing in his later song that he created, Adrenaline, which I'll be honest, I love that song. So the context for that, Chowzak, is the fact that he wanted to work with Quackity in some way because both have Minecraft SMPs, both are quite well known, and they wanted to work with each other. And the thing is that they both coincidentally were making very similar stuff, mods, to allow people from different countries and of different languages to be able to speak with one another.
Okay.
And this was a pure coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
Then Dream came up to Quackity and say like, "Hey, I realized they were making the same. Do you want to work together in some sort?" You know what Quackity did for a few months after?
What?
Blue ticked. Completely ignored. Like as if Quackity was trying to hide something or something. Like, didn't want to work, but he didn't outwardly say, "Nah, maybe not," or something like that. He didn't give like some sort of like formal like comment say like, "Hey, maybe not," all of a sudden there's a reason why. Nope, he just ignored it straight up. And that in and of itself caused controversy already.
Yeah.
Welcome to the internet.
Yeah. where someone, I guess, ghosting someone within DM is taken out of proportion.
Yes, and I hate it. I think a lot of people hate it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I know that's pretty much the status, and it's just a shame that internet really has just ruined stuff like this, and almost like damaged. Like I feel like it also has damaged reputations of people unbeknowingly. It's like you do realize what you commented can easily damage the reputation of someone and ruin their lives. Then they had to go through law, like court, just to like say, oh, people damaged my image, like just unnecessary.
Yeah, it probably doesn't help that maybe, like, especially given the fact that he's like a Minecraft YouTuber, that there's definitely a lot of the people within that community that are kids and teens that, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I see where you're coming from. Audience-wise, yeah, he also has to take in consideration.
Mm-hmm.
And then people are just mad because of that. It's like, what? But yeah. It's just a shame. Like, overall, to summarize those 2 points, it's just a shame that the internet is just like that.
Mm-hmm.
But similar to what Nintendo did, I felt like he didn't give a crap about it.
Yeah.
I mean, that comes with maturity, realizing you can't police the internet.
Yeah, if the internet starts to run with something, they're gonna run with it, and
it doesn't even matter. It will never be burned to the ground because there's gonna be still some people out there that are just still gonna hold the grudge.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, but here's where, honestly, I feel like after all of that happened, that he really started to recover. And ironically, it all started with a bit of a rivalry with another YouTuber. And this one was healthy this time.
Oh?
The Quavers.
Okay.
He basically, the Quavers and Dream were trolling each other, saying like, oh, I'm better than you, you're not better than me, all this kind of stuff, with obviously edited and modded Minecraft. Basically. Mm-hmm. And eventually they did do a genuine series where they battle each other in 3 different aspects.
Okay.
Duel, skills, and of course, the fabled Minecraft Manhunt.
Mm-hmm.
And this time, Dream actually did post the entire video to prove that none of it was fake, none of them was, tampered.
Okay.
And to this day, like, it's still considered one of, like, the craziest moments in the Minecraft history. And, I mean, the Quavers himself will, admit, like, yeah, it's not faked.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it's only one person, but you gotta admit there's also one more person looking after all of this. And then, of course, is Callahan, who has been, as Dream puts it, the MVP amongst all the manhunts, because he's basically the one who makes sure that nothing funny, no funny business going on. Even within Dream himself.
Okay, so he's like the word adjudicator came up. I guess maybe, but just like, yeah, like, yeah.
I
know it's start.
No, don't worry. If you really can't, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Moving onwards, though, this is where the recovery really started. The Quavers was the first one, the catalyst. From then on, he did Minecraft speedrunner swaps, where it's a manhunt, but he basically is swapping every minute with another speedrunner, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So every minute, for like every first minute, Dream is playing, then the next minute, another person's playing, then the minute after, he plays again. And basically, the task is to beat the game with that disadvantage, I guess.
Okay.
And that was okay.
sorry, that feels almost like I don't know if this is like a testament to just who I've kind of started watching lately. That almost feels like something that like Failboat would come up with. So Failboat is someone who within the past like 6 to 12 months I've actually started to like watch. So and just like some of the wacky gimmicks that he comes up with, I guess that kind of feels a little in line with that. I don't know. It was something that just sprung to mind.
That's very true.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, but he did it with like his own friend group of Satnat, George Not Found, and the Quavis. Then the next one really blew up the internet because in the midst of like Dream's downtime, another Minecraft speedrunner, let alone Manhunter, rose up, and that was Bablu.
Mm.
And in 2025, near the end of 2025 at that, Dream was like, hey, here, have another Minecraft speedrunner swap, except I'm doing it with Bablu. And then it broke the internet to an extent because, like, wait a second, you're telling us that two Minecraft Manhunt specialists are teaming up together? And that was in the midst of Bablu hitting 500,000 subscribers at the time.
Okay.
So that really built up the trust, I would say, amongst like not only his own friend group but also Bablu's. And eventually we saw that. Okay, actually no, I need to discuss that a little bit later. Then he did it with Skeppy, and then with Dr. Donut, who at the time was also rising up to be not necessarily a Minecraft Manhunter, but rather be a Minecraft specialist himself, Dr. Donut. And also a funny guy at that.
Okay.
And then right after, the Revival series came up, where Dream himself said openly, I am doing a Minecraft Manhunt with 6 hunters.
Okay.
And with all that had happened to him, and all that was hyped up to him at the time that he said that he will probably do 6 hunters in due time as a reunion kind of thing, oh boy. The fact that it was gonna happen in due time was what broke a lot of the internet to an extent. Granted, it did not get as many views, but the idea that he was returning, that we were gonna see vintage Dream, was a crowd pleaser to say the least.
Okay.
At this time, especially with the bigger manhunts like 4 hunters and 5 hunters, he did not play around. He actually did post up the full videos.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no like tampering with like any other mode or kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
And then the big kicker, hyping up the 6 hunter manhunt when he finished, and then releasing it. I'd like to point out, Giles, that if you look up YouTube gaming, it is still in the top 10 trending. If I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Well,
yeah,
I want you to look it up right now. Is it true?
Let's see. I don't even know where the
trending tab is?
Here? Yeah, because I don't really look at the trending tabs.
Oh yeah, understandably.
Yeah, I really just keep to my subscriptions. Explore. I don't even know where the trending tab is.
Are you looking at your phone or are you looking at the laptop?
Desktop, yeah.
Desktop! If you looked at the tab on the left side, it should say trending, I think.
Why am I not seeing it?
Hang on, let me see if it is difficult or not to find it here. Just hope that this actually doesn't get. Okay, good. YouTube tab. Oh wait, what? Oh yeah, explore. Go down to explore, and it says gaming.
Okay, I guess I was looking specifically for the word trending.
Oh yeah, no, I forgot that they kind of changed it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But if you click gaming, it should show all like the big videos.
Yeah.
Recommended shorts.
Let's
Yeah,
see.
training videos.
Featured shorts. This is oh, trending videos. Okay. Duh.
Yep, still number one.
Trending videos. It's funny because is this organized?
It is organized
just
from
says
number one, number two, all the way down.
Okay, is the one that would, I guess, be considered the top for me is Five Nights at Freddy's 2 in real life by Silo and Bros.
I mean, I think click show all. I think it might show the full list.
I'm not seeing, I mean, I guess I am, like, on the show all page.
Oh?
Videos.
That's strange. From my end, it does. Hang on, let me look at the same tab again, because honestly, I didn't know I would see a Five Nights at Freddy's kind of thing.
Yeah, this is wild.
Wait, hang on. I actually don't see Five Nights at Freddy's on the trending videos.
Yeah, this is... It's weird. It's, like, still trending, but, like, still basing the information off of something. Because the one, or the video that I guess would be in slot number 2 is a video from Smosh Games that was released today. Can we guess the video game music? So...
Interesting.
Unless if, like, I'm looking through the gaming section again, and I'm just not not seeing anything that, like, would also be considered trending. That is, yeah, trending videos, hot and fresh, view all.
For gaming.
Yeah, it's...
The funny thing is that you mentioned Five Nights at Freddy's. I didn't see a single Five Nights at Freddy's video in that top 10.
I almost wonder if that's because it's, like, tangentially related to someone else that, like, I started watching somewhat recently. Kind of. Specifically, the person is Fiznom.
Pardon me for asking this, but can you take a screenshot of what you're seeing right now that's saying that? Maybe I can diagnose it.
Yeah. Let's see.
Because that is definitely strange if YouTube has, like, different lists for trending videos on different web pages.
Copy. Message this to you. That's what I'm seeing.
That is not what is showing on my end. And also, the gaming tab, like, the on top left, is not showing as well.
Like, what do you mean?
Like, the list of, like, the list of trending videos on my end, it has the gaming tab on top of the hot and fresh.
Oh, mine does as well. It's just I scrolled down a little bit.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah.
That is weird. YouTube bug or something like that? I don't know. That's interesting.
Maybe. I also don't like that within this list it's showing me the burnt peanut. No. No. No.
What?
No, I'm not gonna get into it.
That's weird. But that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it is considered number one though. I will officially, like, say that. And the fact that he's, like, blown up that much now, all of a sudden it's like, I don't know. You could have said that, oh, maybe, like, more of it is, like, people trying to troll, people trying to say that he's still faking stuff. But again, welcome to the internet. Then you have the actual base, as you mentioned, like maybe potentially kids that are like, oh my goodness, he actually posted it finally. This thing he promised.
Yeah.
So it's like, are we seeing the reconnaissance of Dream? Yes. Will it last long? We'll have to see. Let's just, like, either he does, continue his supremacy and proves his innocence, or all of a sudden there is something that comes out from the bottom realm of the internet that all of a sudden says that, hey, he really is a faker. But I'll let the internet decide.
Yeah.
Well, not really the internet decide, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Just, I've been looking at the trending tab, and it's like, I now know why I don't look at the trending tab. It just, I don't know, I don't like the kind of, like, mainstream, like, clickbait type nonsense. It's like, I have a very specifically curated feed. Hold on.
To be fair, I also don't even look at it either. But it's nice to know when all of a sudden that one of the videos is like, hey, it pops up on that.
Mm-hmm.
Of a YouTuber that you watch, of course. Then it's like, oh, that's a nice thing to see, and yay, he's becoming popular again.
Yeah, sorry, whoa.
Oh, jeez.
I think within the past 20 minutes, it's been, like, hitting me that it's like, oh, yeah, you're tired.
Yeah, no, this podcast has definitely lasted a little bit longer than usual, but admittedly it's just because we were searching up stuff.
Yeah, this is also, like, I got home from work, ate dinner, and helped with snow removal, and I basically went, like, without really any breaks from, between those to then getting ready for the podcast.
Yeah. By the way, what I said is what it looks on my end, so you can see that, apparently it's different unless there's something awkward that was accidentally pressed.
Interesting. I'm almost wondering if it's, like, trending videos just based off of your prior watch history.
Which would be a bit...
Or whatever.
Strange, considering that usually when we think of trending, it's like, oh, the whole, like, more of the world is watching this rather than other, and not based on public opinion. Or public input.
Yeah, it's weird. What's even more weird is, like, if that's the case, why is the burnt peanut on my trending list? That is the exact opposite kind of person that I want to watch.
Yeah.
Anyways.
That is very strange. YouTube, fix it, please.
Yeah.
Anyways, as I said, I think I summarized as well. Are we seeing reconnaissance? Reconnaissance. Reconnaissance of Dream? Yes. Is it gonna last forever? Well, it depends on whether he doesn't cheat. But I feel like at age 26, maturity is starting to set in. He has a girlfriend. I feel like there's going to be a point in time where we've got to admit, okay, he has changed. Let's accept the change. And let's not be absolute idiots and not change, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, again, passion. Now I'm just reminded of the... who's that creator? I forgot that creator that is like, I'm sorry. A little bit too much passion.
I actually don't know who that is.
It's a Formula 1 analysis person.
Ah, okay.
So, we'll see in due time. But for now, I think we're just glad that he's back. Most of us are glad he's back. And hopefully things will settle down for him in his life.
Yeah. Hopefully people don't try to ruin his life.
Yes.
Like
please, we have already had enough crap to go through this year. Let's not have another.
Yeah.
Welcome to the internet. Sorry. I feel like it's been the theme of this podcast.
Welcome to the internet. Have a look around. Yeah.
There's a cat playing the piano, and he heard some more assholes. Sorry.
What kind of asshole?
Oh no, no. Oh,
Sorry.
okay, with that, we're gonna cut it right there. Jeez Louise.
Well, given what Bo Burnham mentions in his song, it's like, it's a fair question to ask.